Anger, a potent and often destructive emotion, was a subject of deep contemplation for Stoic philosophers. Stoicism, which flourished in ancient Greece and Rome, teaches the development of self-control and fortitude as a means to overcome destructive emotions. Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius, three of the most influential Stoics, shared profound insights on the nature of anger, its triggers and strategies for its resolution, always favoring rational deliberation over emotional turmoil. According to the Stoics, anger is a destructive passion that arises from our irrational and impulsive reactions to external events. It is often fueled by our desires for control, recognition, or revenge, leading us to act without reason and lose sight of what truly matters. As Seneca puts it, anger always outlasts its cause and affects itself on its object. This means that while the initial trigger may be fleeting, the repercussions of our anger can have long-lasting consequences. Seneca on understanding anger, Lucius Aeneas. Seneca, a Roman Stoic philosopher, explored anger extensively, notably in his work, De Ira, on anger. He viewed anger not as an uncontrollable force, but as a consequence of human error, a product of our mistaken judgments and misplaced values. Seneca believed that anger stems from our unwillingness to accept the natural course of events and our tendency to cling onto expectations. He writes, "Anger is a brief madness, for it is equally devoid of self-control, regardless of decorum, forgetful of kinship, obstinately engrossed in whatever it begins to do." Seneca famously stated, "The best cure for anger is delay." Seneca recognized that anger stems from our impressions of being wronged or slighted, urging that time and contemplation can weaken the intensity of this fiery emotion. He believed that with patience, we afford ourselves the opportunity to examine the situation with reason instead of reacting impulsively. This approach aligns with the Stoic principle of acceptance and recognizing what is within our control. No plague has cost the human race more. This powerful quote highlights the destructive capacity of anger, likening it to a pandemic that has devastating effects on individuals and societies alike. Seneca believed that anger causes more harm than any disease, leading to fractured relationships and harmful decisions. He urged individuals to recognize the damaging nature of anger and strive towards inner peace instead. As Seneca put it, "Anger always outlasts its cause and affects itself on its object." This means that while the initial trigger may be fleeting, the repercussions of our anger can have long-lasting consequences. It is a vicious cycle that only perpetuates further harm and suffering. In the face of adversity, Seneca advocated for mental resilience and self-mastery. He believed that by controlling our emotions, we can better navigate challenging situations and maintain inner peace. This does not mean suppressing emotions entirely, but rather acknowledging them and choosing how to respond in a rational and constructive manner. Epictetus on managing anger. Epictetus, born into slavery in Hierapolis, Phrygia, around 50 AD, experienced firsthand the harsh realities and injustices of life from an early age. His status as a slave in Roman society exposed him to many trials and tribulations that could easily have brewed a deep-seated anger within him. However, Epictetus turned his challenging circumstances into a crucible for personal growth and philosophical inquiry. Instead of succumbing to anger and bitterness, he sought understanding and wisdom, eventually becoming a leading Stoic philosopher. His teachings emphatically reflect this transformation, as he frequently emphasized the importance of distinguishing between what is within our control and what is not. For Epictetus, the only true form of freedom was internal, a freedom from passion, disturbance, and especially anger, which he viewed as a destructive force that undermined reason and wisdom. Thus, his early life as a slave was not only a backdrop to his philosophy, but a powerful narrative that highlighted the futility of anger and the strength found in emotional resilience and rational response to life's adversities. Epictetus, born a slave and later a revered Stoic thinker, approached anger from the standpoint of control. He emphasized the importance of distinguishing between what is within our power and what is not. According to Epictetus, the only thing we have control over is our thoughts and actions. Therefore, when faced with a situation that triggers anger, we should focus on managing our own response rather than trying to control external factors. In his famous quote, "People are not disturbed by things, but by the views they take of them." Epictetus taught that our responses to external events, including potential triggers for anger, are within our control. It is not events themselves that upset us, but our views of these events. Thus, controlling our perception is key to managing anger. Furthermore, Epictetus believed that anger is a result of our own irrational beliefs and expectations. When we have unrealistic or rigid expectations, we set ourselves up for disappointment and frustration when things do not go according to plan. By recognizing and challenging these beliefs, we can prevent unnecessary anger from arising. Marcus Aurelius on maintaining inner peace. The Roman emperor and renowned Stoic philosopher believed in the power of mindfulness to maintain inner peace. He recognized that our thoughts and emotions are interconnected, and that by controlling our thoughts, we can also control our emotions. In his influential work, Meditations, he wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This quote reflects the Stoic belief that we should focus on what is within our control, rather than wasting energy on things beyond our control. By accepting this truth and practicing mindfulness, we can maintain inner peace despite external circumstances. Consider the example of a professional faced with sudden job loss, a situation that could understandably lead to significant stress and anxiety. By applying Marcus Aurelius's principles, the individual reframes their perspective to focus on what they can control, their reaction to the job loss. Instead of succumbing to worry or anger, they use the situation as an opportunity to assess their skills, explore new career paths, and even pursue personal growth through courses or hobbies. Throughout this process, mindfulness techniques help them stay grounded, reminding them that their worth is not defined by their job status. This approach not only aids in maintaining inner peace, but also paves the way for positive transformation during challenging times. Marcus Aurelius on overcoming anger reflected deeply upon personal conduct in his meditative diary, Meditations. His approach to anger was deeply introspective, focusing on self-improvement and understanding the human tendency towards anger. He counseled, "How much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it?" The emperor-philosopher recognized that the fallout from anger is often far worse than whatever may trigger it. He encouraged aiming for an inner citadel of peace, which would be impervious to the emotional responses that lead to anger. In the modern digital era, consider the impact of online interactions that spiral into heated exchanges. A single negative comment on social media can trigger anger, provoking a reply that is disproportionate and incendiary. This reaction, while momentary, may have lasting consequences, including harm to one's reputation, loss of relationships, or even professional repercussions. Here, Aurelius's wisdom is particularly relevant. The initial annoyance is minor compared to the potential fallout of an angry response. By practicing restraint and considering the long-term effects of our actions, we embody the Stoic principle that maintaining composure is within our control, even when external events are not. As he famously stated, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Aurelius preached self-mastery, positioning the mind as the most powerful tool we have in overcoming emotional disturbances, such as anger. Stoic views on anger converge on a shared realization that anger is not an external force that afflicts us, but an internal one that we have the power to understand, manage, and overcome. Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius all contended that peace of mind is preferable and attainable through the practice of Stoic principles. In a modern age often spearheaded by swift reactions and high emotions, the Stoic wisdom serves as a beacon guiding us back to a state of calm rationality a coveted sanctuary in the tumultuous seas of human experience. The Stoic posture towards anger is one that not only sees it as pointless, but also as a corrosive element that has no place in the life of a rational being. Instead, we should strive for Stoic calm, a mind unperturbed by the vagaries of fortune and the provocation of others, fully realized in the exercise of reason and virtue.